Hey, everybody, this is Alan Fine, and I am here with David Levine and Ryan Warshaw, who are with Epic Jaunts. We're at the Avoya annual conference on Discovery Princess, and we are going to talk about the fact that this conference has many travel advisors new to the business, making over $1 million, and these guys are a success story, which we will discuss. That's even more impressive here on Insider Travel Report. All right, well, welcome. Thank you for being with me. First of all, let's just talk about how long have you been with Avoya and what did you achieve?
Yeah, thanks for the question. We've been with Avoya just over a year now, and we're putting up millions in sales right now. So that's a happy day for us.
Well, I actually saw a slide that it was over 5 million, and you're each responsible for about half.
Yeah. It has been an interesting journey for us, for sure. You know, we started about a little over a year ago. Started off a little bit kind of part-time side gig, if you will, and then
backtrack. Wait. Let's go backtrack all the way.
Yeah.
How do you guys know each other?
Oh man.
Yeah.
So started off working for Best Buy probably about 25 years ago. We were both in college. Worked in 2 different geographical areas in Florida, and kind of started off as a side job. Well, we were obviously going to school and ended up having a really prosperous career with Best Buy. Ended up crossing a lot of paths in various meetings and trainings and competitive environments, and really became friends. Ended up living in Jacksonville, Florida together, working for the same folks. And then just really, eventually created a great working as well as personal relationship. Our families are really close, and have really just had a great affinity towards travel kind of on the side too. And that's kind of the short story of how we arrived here.
What school?
Well, I went to Florida State, and Dave went to the University of Florida. So we find a way to be competitive in everything, including college football. So it drives us.
And so you were both at different schools, but somehow you got to Best Buy?
Yeah, probably just individually. We didn't know each other, so we both started. That was the cool thing back in the day, was could you get hired at Best Buy? Consumer electronics, of course, was super hot when we were in college. So Dave started in Gainesville, I started in Tallahassee, and then, to Dave's point, we crossed paths along the way, and before you knew it, we were...
And how did travel become the focus?
I think, we've always had an affinity towards all things travel, always kept up with industry trends and happenings and events and that type of thing. And I think we've always had some idea, some list somewhere of, if we were ever to do something different from a career perspective, what would it be? And inevitably, travel always ended up somewhere on that list. So I think over time and over a lot of different events and just time with family and a host of other reasons, we started to do a little bit more research, got more serious about it, figure out if it was something that was like us. So, I think a lot went into it, but just came out of a natural, let's call it hobbyist love or affinity towards all things travel and destinations.
Okay, so you decide to do this, and you look around, and you decide Avoya. What was that like? Why? And then tell us about the indoctrination and training.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, when we were deciding whether or not we were going to do something different, we talked to a myriad of host agencies, speed dating, I guess. And, I think we really liked what we heard from Avoya, the support, the technology. We did a lot of research, and, Dave and I are very loyal, right? We stayed with the same company for 20 plus years. And I think one of the things that really stuck out to us, the leadership here, particularly 2023 Avoya with Jeff and Mike, they're just good people. And that was super important to us. This company feels like it's a family, and we're not doing business travel. We're here on a conference, right? So that's business travel, but we're not booking business travel. So we're helping people make memories. So having a family feel and being part of something bigger, I think, is really important for us.
Okay, so you decide, you pick, say it's Avoya, and then you start. What was the training like, and how did you ramp up?
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah. Fast and Furious, maybe bit off a little bit more than we could chew. I think great advice for everybody is always find your specializations. Probably didn't do that at the beginning. We were like, we got this figured out. We'll do it all. We'll say no to nothing, which felt really good in the moment. We took a little trial run at it as we were going through every vendor's e-learning and certification, as well as Avoya's. But on top of that, we took a week of PTO away from Best Buy and kind of pretended to be travel agents for a week, holed up in a 2-bedroom condo and took a bunch of leads and made a bunch of calls and closed a bunch of sales and said, yeah, we can do this. This is easy. And then kind of part-timed it for a little bit until we decided it was time to rip the Band-Aid off and do it for real. So, yeah, it's been an interesting journey.
So at what point did you decide? Well, I guess you already answered that question. You decided you could do it. Yep. And did you ever expect it to be as you're one of the top earners this year so far? Did you ever expect that? And was there a point where you went, yeah, it's happening?
I don't know if we even really see ourselves in that light yet. One, I think the thought is always how high is high, and I don't think we're anywhere close to what we know we could or should be doing from an outcomes perspective. Additionally, we come from a highly competitive environment where performance matters, and driving financials is pinnacle to success and determines who you are and how you're viewed. And I think that just is kind of in our soul at this point. So it's just natural for us to, if you're not at the top or pretty damn close, you probably have work to do. So.
But we were talking about the similarities to working at Best Buy. Yep. You want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of, if you think about the industry, right, there's suppliers and you have vendors, right? I mean, if you go into a Best Buy store, you have a myriad of products. Best Buy is not a manufacturer. Neither is Avoya. There's not an Avoya ship sailing around an ocean or flying across the skies, right? So what's the partnership look like? How do you add value to the supplier? And then the supplier in turn wants to add value to you, I think is a big thing. Understanding the importance of vendor relationships. It's always easy to raise your hand and ask for help, but I think ownership is a big piece of it in the industry as well. And Dave and I pride ourselves, and we made a laundry list of mistakes along the way. I'm sure we'll make some more, but we always pride ourselves on like, hey, let me fall on the sword and ask for help versus assuming that it was somebody else's responsibility to fix our problem that we self-created. We've booked people into the wrong airport or, the wrong train tickets or, it's a human business. And I think those are some of the things that were very telling for us.
We also, I think we're conditioned to have an entrepreneurial spirit in that former life, so to speak. I mean, there was an end-to-end operations component that we were responsible for. It was sales, it was operations, it was human resources, it was payroll, it was third parties, it was vendors, it was merchandising, it was building sales strategies, it was dealing with profit and loss. I mean, it was every aspect of a $2 billion a year business with 1,900 employees. So I think running a business, owning a business, making strategic decisions, understanding how things work, and then learning to figure out your struggles and your next steps just kind of came natural, and I think has allowed us to accelerate a bit. So, or it might not be natural for maybe everybody. So
let's go into more detail. I mean, you said I want to ask what you like about Avoya, what you love about Avoya. I mean, you talked about the family part and the technology. Let's get into a little more depth.
Yeah, so I mean, I think particularly maybe for people who are going to be new to the industry, and I think there's a lot of people maybe coming into the travel industry from different backgrounds. One is having a support structure, right? I mean, what does that look like? This is a new business for a lot of people, and the Avoya team is incredibly supportive, the ability to help get answers, help run things down. There's not a lot of pretentiousness here. It's a, hey, what can we do to make your life easier? Want to raise the water level for everybody. The technology is wildly important. We came out of a company that, sold technology. So being able to have systems and simplicity, of course, are huge for us. And then, I think we hit on just the quality of the people that are here. I think there's a lot of excitement right now within the industry. There's certainly a lot of excitement within Avoya to innovate and grow the business, and how high is high and what can we continue to do together. I think this is a team that's consistently soliciting feedback from people like us to ask, what is it that we can do better? How can we, grow the business as a collective? And I just don't know that a lot of places are doing that. So that's something that's pretty unique.
Yeah, I think a lot of industries and a lot of companies are in a reactive position a lot of times, especially in today's day and age and everything that's going on across the globe regularly. And it's nice that even with amazing financial results and outcomes and NPS, customer feedback, Avoya could very well just be continuing to say, hey, we're doing great. We're just going to keep things status quo. And that couldn't be further from the truth. So whether it's the leads program, the technology, or just the desire to want to continue to grow the business and innovate, it's just amazing. There's nothing like it.
Let's go deeper now. So we talked about what you like about Avoya, but Avoya, this conference is about what's coming up, what they're developing. What are you excited about in the new technology?
Yeah, I think there's new suppliers that are coming on board, right? So I think that's a big piece of it is, people are back to traveling. There's no doubt about that. We're not seeing any slowdown, that's for sure. But I think bringing new brands and new suppliers into the fray is a big piece of the work. So excited to see that, exciting to see Avoya, spreading its wings beyond, maybe just traditional land and traditional cruise, because people are asking for more destination specific options. So I think that's a big piece of it. How do we move forward into an interactive development version of whether it be AI or have things that are app based, right? Everybody has, in this industry, everybody struggles for time. So the more time that Dave or I can spend talking to our clients is more time that we're spending growing our business, right? So, like all industries, technology should be simplifying some of that work in order to be freeing up capacity. Some folks, I'm sure, would like the capacity freed up so they have a little bit more free time. Dave and I want the capacity freed up so we can put more dollars in the bank, which is kind of what we're focused on right now.
I think
Let's be specific. Like, what about the airline, and what about the new app changes and things like that?
Yeah, so I think it's a couple things. First off, data. The immense amount of customer data that exists in the industry and specifically within Avoya. So what are we doing to market better, to attract people to the right products as new capabilities roll out, making sure that we're able to see that this is specific to a specific client. But to your point, I mean, the platform around flights, the platform around hotels, some of the integration that's being built in with travel leaders, just some of these integrations that just didn't exist before, some of these capabilities didn't exist before, just allow you to really provide a more full service experience for customers. And that's what the technology is. Just technology, it's a tool, but what it allows you to do is what matters most.
One of the things that was exciting for me was not only are they creating tools for today, but even in your chat app, your new chat app, which will allow you to see chats on all your devices, that data is being culled and saved for the AI of the future. Yep. That you're actually training your future tools.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, look, I think you can remember a lot of things, but you talk to a lot of people over the course of time, and to be able to have that history, when you're arguing with a buddy, you go back into your text message history and you say, well, I do remember telling you that 5 years ago, right? We all have that. So I think having that ability to know, hey, I remember, before COVID, we were talking about you going on this trip. Like, oh, you know what? Yeah, we still do want to do that. Like, no time like the present. Okay, I'm going to, go talk to my spouse and we're going to put something together. So I think all of that information, being able to have a history of what the conversation is and understanding some of those things. I also think there's a lot of new brands in the industry, which is exciting. So really helping to qualify what it is that somebody might be looking for, things that were maybe aspirational and only for the very wealthy now are becoming a little bit more within reach. So having that historical background, and to Dave's point, like, what are we doing to market to folks that man, this word Arctic keeps coming up in this history. Like, man, we should probably send them an email and say, have you thought about the Arctic? I think is all different. Everybody likes something that's specific, and we certainly know that there are some companies out there that have certainly figured out how to master big data.
In general, what advice do you have for travel advisors?
I think it's a handful of things. Put the level of service above all else. I think we live in a world right now where people are even willing to pay a premium for great service. And I think the more that you can highlight the service that you provide, the service your client's going to get present and in the future, I think matters a ton. I think being clear on your purpose and on the fact that this is not a one-time transaction, that you really want to build a relationship and be somebody's guy or gal is critical to short-term and long-term success. I just think all those things are things that we don't always slow down enough to realize. And then lastly, meet people where they're at. A lot of people right now want to travel with friends and family, and they might not have done that as much in the past. So they want to try new exotic destinations or different forms of travel. And I think sometimes they don't even know what they don't know. And it's so important to expose people to all these new ways of experiencing the world, or new ways to experience life with the people that they care about. And sometimes you get caught up in something you've always done for the past 5-10 years, or the way that things have always been in the industry, and you don't remember to slow down and really take credit for or spend time on those things. And I feel like that stuff matters probably now more than ever.
And question to you, what guide, if a travel advisor is looking for guidance, what advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest piece is have a rhythm, right? I mean, the work is abundant, and I think most people are in this industry not to work for free. So have a rhythm, have a consistent level of follow-up and communication. Be available is probably the biggest one, right? I mean, I think you read horror stories of I chose to use a travel advisor and then they weren't there when I needed them. This industry affords a lot of opportunity. It also affords an incredible amount of flexibility, but that also requires you to somewhat be available 24/7, because when things go wrong, that's when you guarantee yourself a client for life. We have a client right now, flight today, diverted on their way home from Europe. They were flying to Montreal, something in the cockpit. They are sitting on the ground in, Iceland. This is a client we've worked with a handful of times. Saw my out of office and said, never mind, we'll handle it. You're on vacation. I said, absolutely not. We'll handle it, because we want to make sure that we don't leave you hanging. And I was able to get her more information than she was able to get from the airline while she's on the ground and we're on the ocean. So, her happiness that we were there for her will buy us unending loyalty, and that's what our clients deserve. So that's what Dave and I stand for. So I think those are some of the key pieces to hit for folks.
All right, so to wrap this up, just why Avoya?
Yeah, listen, there's a million reasons why Avoya, but at the end of the day, I think it enables success in a very efficient way. Amazing support, amazing tools, and just brings a level of comfort to people with any level of experience, any background. It really is a great way to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish, whether it's a hobby, a career, a new path, what have you. Like, this is how you do it.
That's great. And what do you say?
I've talked to friends of mine, others who have maybe dipped their toe into travel, and they have shared that they don't have this support. They've been stunned, actually. I had somebody came up to go to a Taylor Swift concert and stayed at my house and said, hey, can I see the access that you have? And said, I don't have any of this, right? So I think the technology play, I think the fact that there are industry experts that work for Avoya that can open doors for you, create relationships for you. We talked early on about vendor relationships. and can open those doors. I'm sure there are plenty of people who go out and have their own IATA, and Dave and I talked about that, and we wouldn't have known where to start. And to be honest, we get the bulk of our energy and success from talking to clients, not chasing down commission payments and not trying to figure out who we should talk to with a brand. We have the ability to ask for help and say, this is the person to talk to. And if you don't get a response or you need more help, let me know. And then we can step in and insert ourselves. And that sets us up to have some of what we talked earlier is a little bit more time to do what matters. And that's put more sales up on the board.
Guys, you're killing it. And I'm really, really honored to get to talk to you. Congratulations to you both and continued success.
Well, we appreciate it. Thanks so much for having us, and we're excited. It's a fun business to be in, and we're having a great time.
And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.